Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Ijaz Qureshi from Toronto, Canada. Today, I'm going to talk about finding the right partner. So, if you're in business and you're looking for some partnership with some other people or some investors or somebody, then this is the presentation for you. So, we'll dive into this. So we're going to talk about how we're going to structure this presentation. So here are different topics that I'm going to talk about. We'll have to perform some SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats analysis. We're going to talk about the interviewing partners. Why should we be interviewing them? We're going to talk about discussing the strategic goals with the partners. Who's going to do what? So roles and responsibilities. Communication is very important for a partnership to be successful. No surprises, so we have to avoid surprises. Respect for each other, that's very crucial and key. Writing agreements, so everything has to be in writing. Whatever you discuss, it has to be written on black and white and signed. Talk instead of email messages or text messages. So pick up the phone and don't hesitate to talk. This is really important. Who's responsible for what? That's really important, and it ties up with the roles and responsibilities. And again, you respect your responsibility, and the other party should respect their responsibility. Admit blunders. So if you do mistakes, just admit them. It's not a big deal. That's not the end of the world. Stay calm. So just be patient and stay put there. Analyze your stuff. That's important. And then again, teamwork is really important. So let's get into the meat of the presentation. So the very first one is you have to do the SWOT analysis. So for those who don't know what SWOT is basically strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So those are the four critical things that you have to really, really consider before looking into the partnership. And the strengths, so here in this graphic, the strengths are the internal origin, and they are very helpful. So you have to really consider those. And what are your strengths, and what are you good at? What are your skills and expertise and experience and education? They're all tie up. In terms of skills, your soft skills and hard skills, both. And what do you do well out of all those different things, different skills? What do you do best? That's really important for you to note and consider. And your partner should really complement you. The other side should be in tune with your expertise. I mean, if you are an electrical engineer, you're looking for another electrical or electronics engineer. You're not looking for a mining engineer or a civil engineer. You know, it doesn't really complement each other. So that's really important, that your partner and you should complement each other. The next quadrant is the weaknesses. So what are the weaknesses in doing business or doing partnership or doing any gig or whatever? This SWOT analysis applies to pretty much everything. The partnership or putting up a new gig or putting up a new product or putting up a new service, you have to do SWOT analysis in order to really get to the bottom line, that what you're going to do and how you're going to do. So weaknesses are really harmful. So you have to be careful, and you have to have some game plan in order to address those weaknesses. So, for example, if you're not good at marketing, that would be a weakness. Neither your partner has expertise in marketing the products and services that you have. So the risk factor or the mitigation strategy would be to hire someone with that skill set so that you can market your products. So that was just an example. There could be many others. Opportunities, that's really important. So they come from outside. So what is the market? Where are you going to sell your products and services? What are the opportunities in the market? So you have to analyze that. Whatever services, for example, you're providing graphic design, you have to see what are the opportunities, what are people looking for in terms of the graphic design. Are they looking for logo? Are they looking for marketing collateral design? Are they looking for brochure, or are they looking for um, Photoshop design or something like that? And finally, the fourth quadrant is again harmful, which is threats. So what is a threat? Threat means threat to your business, right? Not to yourself, but to your business. Who is the competition? Who are your main competitors? What are they doing? What are they offering? And how you will counter them? How you will promote your products and services that will look better than the competition. So that's really important. So those are the four um, quadrants of the SWOT analysis. And you start brainstorming and putting things into those four different quadrants, and you will see how you're going to reach to the conclusion. So more strengths, more opportunities, weaknesses, they're not bad. They would be there. Everybody has some weaknesses, but there should be a game plan to address those. Threats, they will be there. They will always be there. The competition will always be there. You have to have a strategy in order to address that. So those are pros and cons that you have to really consider. Um, so the next item is if you focus on seeking out people who have a different skill set from yours, you will be stronger together than you are apart. So that's really important. So seek out those people who have different skill set from yours, not completely different, but in line. So for example, you have technical background, the other party may have some communication skills, or some people skills, or project management skills, and things like that. And those different skill set will complement each other, and you will be stronger together. If you have the matching skill set, then it would be hard, because everybody tries to approach to the same thing in a different way. There are 100 ways to skin the cat. So it's really important to look for different skill set than yours, because you already have that skill. Whatever you have, you're looking to for someone to really complement that skill by bringing something else on the table, so that you all join hands together, and you can be successful. And you don't have to be afraid to be dependent on your partner. So whatever you do, and you should depend on the skill set that the other party brings to the table. So you have to really appreciate that, and you have to understand that you have to really let them do what they do best based on their skill set. So for a good partnership, both parties, they bring something equally important to the table. So whatever it is, if it is money, money is important. If you're looking for venture capital or investor, they bring to the table. You bring your expertise, which is equally important. Capital funding without the expertise, it doesn't go anywhere. It just either it will be lost or it will just sit there. Technical expertise, if you have, or whatever expertise you have, without the funding, you won't be able to really sell it. So these things are they work together. They have to work together. So in a good partnership, so all the parties, be it two parties or more than two, they bring something equally important to the table. That's really key. And you have to keep the positive attitude. That's really important. As per Alex Mantossian, who is the mastermind facilitator, and he has tons of experience with large organizations. He's a mentor, and he said, keep positive attitude and train for skills. So the attitude is something that cannot be changed. Whoever is getting into the partnership, they have to have a positive attitude. If they come up with a negative attitude, it's not a match at all. So you cannot change the attitude, but you can train for skills. So if somebody is missing certain skills, they can be trained for, but you cannot change the attitude, as per Alex Mantossian. For example, the skills could be writing skills. So somebody, neither you or the other partner has the writing skills, for example, right? So those skills are soft skills, and you can be, or the partner can be trained on those skills. So, but if you had the negative attitude, or the other party had the negative attitude, that cannot be changed. It can never be changed. So that's really key. You have to interview partners. That's really important. Why interview? Why talk to the partners? You have to find out what are they doing, what they have been doing in the past. It's really crucial to interview them. You have to partner with experienced people. That's really important. You don't have to really partner with somebody who is coming out of the school. They have lots of energy, lots of passion that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But again, they don't have experience. And to succeed in the market, you have to have experienced people around you. So if you are an investor, if you're a venture capitalist, you have to find people who have experience around whatever the product and services you're planning to offer. That's really important. You have to have them set up meetings with 3 of their previous employers or partners. So this is really key. You have to talk to your partners. You have to interview them. You look at their credentials, their resume, what they have been doing. You have to ask them that they go ahead and set up meeting with at least 3 of their previous employers, if they were employed, or if they were in business, 3 of their partners. And you don't set up that meeting. You let them set the meeting, because it's really important. As per Alex Mantossian, again, 2 days are important for everybody, whoever has been in business or in partnership or as a working person. The first day, when you enter into the job or into partnership. That's the key. And the last day, when you leave that employment or you leave that partnership. Those are the two critical days. First day is it's always good. It's like a honeymoon, right? You go in there, you have passion. People may not really know very well each other, so that's fine. You will survive there. But again, the last day of the employment or last day of the partnership is really, really important. If the people on the other side are happy with your services, what you have delivered, and they admire your work, and they consider you leaving them or going away as a loss to their organization or their partnership, that's what you're looking for. You should leave an impression that the previous employer or previous partner should consider you leaving as a loss to their business or their partnership. So that's really important. So let them set up the meetings with the three of their previous employees. Why three? Because if you have only one or two, you may not get the full perspective. And as I said, you're looking for experienced people. You're not looking for somebody who has been, around the block. He or she didn't have any experience. You're looking for experienced people who have been into the market, who have been into the industry, who have been into the business for long, and they have worked with more than three partnerships or employers. But you're looking for how good that person is morally and professionally. Does that person really kicks out and just leaves the organization or the company without really bothering or without caring about what's going to happen afterwards, or somebody who really considers all the aspects that, yes, I'm leaving this partnership or this employment. What is my backup plan? Who's going to take care of my responsibilities? Are they being transferred to somebody else, or they are just being taken away? So things like that. So this is important. You talk to those three previous employers and partners, and you find out. So they will tell you how good or bad that person was within their organization. And you're always asking for the feedback. You let them talk. You just pose the open-ended question and you let them talk. Don't ask them yes or no questions. You let them talk. Get their feedback. Write it down or record it if the recording is permitted in your country. And then go back, listen to it, and then or go back to your notes and then form your decision. So interview. That's important. The next item is discussing the strategic goals. So without the goals, nothing will be achieved. As they say, the goal is the key to success. So no plan is planned to fail, right? So that's important. So you have to discuss the strategic goals. So strategic goals are the long-term goals. So maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, or beyond. Tactical goals are short-term. They could be weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, or annually. So those are the two types of goals. Tactical are short-term, strategics are long-term. So you have to really consider those. So you have to, as per T.Cat Hauser, who is the mentor and author of tons of books. He's a great person, great mentor. he says that you have to get around successful people and go away from unsuccessful people. You cannot waste your time around unsuccessful people because they are unsuccessful. They haven't really done anything for themselves, or they cannot help you because they have been unsuccessful. So you have to get to the successful people, whoever are succeeding in whatever they are doing. You have to really partner with them, or you have to get around them and get their help. And as per TCAT again, and this is said by many other people, sharing is caring. So you share the information that you have, and you care about the other person. So that's the care. So you share, and that will show that you care. Strategic goals, are they similar? So the other party, ask them what are their goals, what do they want to achieve. So for example, you start with a business or a product and service offering, and you think that you will be able to do business for $1 million in 1 year or 2 years. And then the other party, the other partner, thinks that you will be able to do at least $3 million in 2 years. That really doesn't really match. That's there is a gap of $2 million, and that's really a good chunk. So you have to come to the same strategic goals. That yes, we want to be here in 2 to 5 years, and here is going to be our revenue. This will be our expense budget and things like that. So that's really important. The strategic goals, are they compatible? Do they sync with each other? It's really important that you have to have compatible goals with the partnership. This is very key point. You have to disagree. You may disagree about how to get there. From point A to point B, but that's okay. That disagreement is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you and your partner should have the same vision. That yes, we disagree on certain things, but we have the same vision. We have to have, for example, two branch offices created in 5 years, or we have to have 3 franchise locations open in 5 years, for example, right? You may have that goal, but the partner may have a different goal. You may disagree on that, but the vision is the growth, that you have to grow. So the partner should have the same vision of growth. You have the same vision of growth. So that's really important. And the crucial question to answer is, will you both be able to achieve your goals by working together? That's the key. That's the very, very important aspect of a partnership. That whether you together as partners will be able to achieve those strategic goals. If you say yes, go ahead, start the partnership. If the result is no, go back and think. Do the SWOT analysis again. Look for some other suitable partner who can work with you, and you can be on the same page. So that's really important. Very crucial question. Roles and responsibilities. Those are really important. Who's going to do what? Yeah, it's me. It's I, me, and myself. 3 people. No, it's just me. So what you do is you do certain things in certain ways. The other party does certain things in certain ways. They complement the skill set. They bring a different skill set to the table, which complement each other. But you don't have to duplicate the effort. If you're working on budgeting, the partner should not be working on budgeting. The person should be working on some other initiatives, right? The 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 other party should really consider uh, doing different things than what you are doing, you're involved with. That's really important. You have to define roles and responsibilities very clearly. Um, this is really important at the beginning of the partnership, that who's going to do what. Um, that's very, very important. There should not be any surprises uh, during the execution of the partnership. It should be defined upfront when you're looking for the partners. You will disclose to each other, okay, this is going to be my role. I'm going to be the president of the company, or I'm going to be the director of the company. You will be the vice president or chairman or chairperson or whoever. You decide that, and then your responsibilities. So the roles and responsibilities, these are two different things. Roles are the higher level. For example, CEO is a role, um, uh, and finance director, for example, is a different role. But the responsibility is the CEO is responsible for the overall success of the organization or the company or the partnership, and its operating expense and the profits and everything. Finance director, whether you are finance director, for example, you are responsible for finance piece only. You're not jumping into the HR, or you're not jumping into technical responsibilities and things like that. So it's really important that you define those roles and responsibilities up front. You can create a communication metrics. It's known as RECI chart, or RECI chart, whatever you want to pronounce it. You can Google RECI chart. So it is you have to put the names, and you have to say R stands for responsible. That this person is responsible for this. A is for action, that who is going to take action. So these could be two different people. One person could be responsible, but may not take action. For example, a manager is responsible for managing that department, but action person could be a technician or an engineer or somebody else, or a project manager who will act upon certain things based on the directions from the person responsible. C is communicate. So you have to communicate with the other person. So, for example, you are creating a new product or new service, you have to consult or communicate with the marketing team. You have to consult with the sales team. You have to consult with the executives, things like that. So you have to consult with certain people. So you put the name of the people, and then you say, I'm going to consult this person or this person or this person. And then the last one is the I. I stands for inform. So you have to inform certain people, you know. So, for example, you're working on certain thing, you're working on new product and service. Informed would be probably the CEO or the COO, the Chief Operating Officer. That you have to keep that person informed about what you're trying to do, where you are in your creation of the product or creation of the service and things like that. So again, responsible action person or acting person, consult or communicate, and inform. So those are the four major categories that you have to put into the communication matrix around everyone on the team. The roles can change over time. I mean, they're not carved out of stone that you will do what you do on the first day forever. That's not the case. So they can change over time mutually, whatever suits the business or the partnership. That way, you should really adjust yourself. Avoid conflicting roles. They must be defined in the beginning. So there should not be any conflicts in roles definition. So for example, you say, I'm going to do the hiring. So you will be responsible for hiring new people, whoever that person is, be it a janitor or be it the director or vice president or president, senior vice president, whoever that person is, right? The other person should not really interfere in that task or in that goal. You will do that. So those roles should be defined upfront in the beginning. And again, as per the TCAT Hauser, you have to get rid of the ankle biters. Ankle biters are the people who are with you, but they are not really helping you. They're just biting your ankle. They're not giving you any good feedback. They're not giving you anything that is really worth it. So you have to get rid of. You have to identify those, and you have to get rid of those ankle biters. And the Warren Buffett, who was the world biggest venture capitalist investor, his investment principle was that who is going to run the company? That's important. He never asked, whenever he made the investment in a company or bought a company, he never asked that, okay, how are we going to run the company? Where that company will be? What products you're going to offer? What services you're going to offer? How much revenue you're going to bring into the pocket? Things like that. He never asked that. What he asked was, who's going to run the company? That's really important. The person capable of running the company should run the company. That's really important. Whether it's you, again, it's me, again, or it's the other person. Whoever is running, that person should be capable of doing that. Communication is the key. It's really important that you keep communicating. This is really important. How do you communicate? You write emails, you write text messages, you pick up the phone, you get into the meetings, things like that. So you have to consider all the means of communication and how do you communicate with each other. The partners not necessarily would be under the same roof. They could be in different places, different cities, different provinces or countries, or even continents. They could be anywhere. People in North America can invest something in other countries. So you have to decide how you're going to communicate with them, how often you're going to communicate with them. This is important. It should be balanced. It should not be too distant, or too frequent, depending on the nature of the task or nature of the job, you decide how often you're going to communicate with each other. That has to be defined right in the beginning when you start partnering with somebody. You're going to tell them that, okay, I'm going to give you a status on weekly basis, that where I am, and you do the same. You give me the status on weekly basis. Let's get together on a conference call on every Friday, for example, and let's talk about what we have achieved in that week and what our plans will be for the next week starting Monday, things like that. Is it working for both of you? That's really important. Communication should work for both of you. If you're doing too frequent communication, the other party doesn't expect that, it's not going to work. If you're doing too little communication and the other party expects more frequent communication, it's not going to work. So it has to work for both of you. The frequency of the communication, the content of the communication, what you're going to communicate should really work for both of you. That's really important. Setting up a recurring time and date will help facilitate talking about any problems, that can occur later on. So if you have a weekly meeting, you know that whatever the issues are, whatever the problems are, you're going to talk about that in the partnership, and you will have a game plan to address those problems or issues. And if there are any risks or anything, you will have a mitigation strategy about those risks, and you're going to talk about that in recurring meeting, whatever it is, weekly or bi-weekly or monthly or whatever it is, depending on your nature of communication strategy. That's really important. You have to avoid surprises. So nobody likes the surprises. That's really important. Neither I, neither you, no one likes surprises. As per Alex Mandossian, again, integrity is something which is the key. If you are integrated with what you are doing, what you are saying, it's really important. And integrity, according to Alex Mandossian, is doing what you say and saying what you do. It is really it is really important, and you have to renegotiate if need be. I mean, if you are coming to a hurdle in a contract, you have to renegotiate before the end date of that contract, or end date of that task, or end date of that project. You have to really need to renegotiate. You have to communicate with the other party. You have to tell the partner that, okay, I won't be able to achieve this within this time frame. Let's renegotiate. Let's extend the timeline, or if you cannot complete a project for a given dollar value, you have to renegotiate it again before the end date. That is the key. After the end date, it doesn't really matter because you have screwed up already, and there is no point in going back and renegotiating. But you have to really have all the key performance indicators beforehand on your fingers so that you know that where the project is heading, whether you're going to finish it within budget, within time, with acceptable quality or not. You would know better. There are tools and techniques that will give you a very, very clear understanding or insight into whether you will be able to complete the project or task in certain time, for certain value, with certain resources, with certain quality. So that's really important. So doing what you say and saying what you do is really important. You have to be integrated. You have to maintain your integrity. That's really key. Yeah, and the other aspect of the integrity is that you have to keep, making agreements and keeping the agreements. So whatever you agree to, you got to keep that. You're not going to deny whatever you said that, okay, I'm going to do this, and then after a certain time, you say, no, sorry, I can't really do that. Well, you should have thought about it in the beginning when you committed to do something. So that is really important for you to know that you have to keep the agreement. You have to keep your words. Um, you can change them if need be, but again, as I said before, the due date. So you have to agree, you have to renegotiate, you have to talk to the other party, and agree about the new uh, deadline or funding or whatever it is. But it has to be before the due date. That's really important. I said earlier, no one likes surprises. And whenever you are in doubt, get your partner's approval. That's really key. If you're in doubt, you're indecisive, you cannot decide something, you have to talk to the partner and get their approval. That, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Do you agree? And let them give you the approval. That's really important. Respect. Respect one another. This is important. Disrespect is not going to take you anywhere. So whoever is bringing something on the table, you have to respect that. That is really key. The other party will respect what you're doing, and you have to respect what the other party is doing. That's really a key factor in a partnership. And don't exploit or take advantage of your partner's weakness just because you can. Everybody has certain weaknesses. You do, I do, everyone has. But let's not try to exploit those. Let's not try to bring those out. Rather, we should complement each other to cover those weaknesses by complementing our skills. So if somebody is lacking something, the other partner should really be able to compensate that and bring value to the table by filling in the gap for that weakness for the other partner. And the other partner should do the same for you to really cover up your weaknesses by their skill set. So that's really important. Instead of bringing out the weaknesses, you should admire their strengths. So be positive. Always think about half glass full. That's really important. Not half glass empty. You bring out their strengths, whatever they're good at. You admire that. You say, yeah, you're great. You're doing good. You're great at doing financial analysis or the market research or whatever it is. You admire that. The next topic, the next point is really, really important. You do not speak to your partner when you are angry. If you're angry, you should not be talking. Rather, you should not be talking to anyone. You should be contained in yourself. You should take a glass of cold water and just relax. Take a deep breath, relax, and give yourself some time. Go catch some air outside. That will give you, the time to get settled. If you're angry, it's a bad idea to talk to anyone, and not to mention the partner. That can ruin the relationship. That can ruin the partnership. So if you're angry, do not talk. Do not speak with your partner. That's really important. And you never mind if your partner said something when they were angry. It's okay. You let it go. Maybe that you're not talking to the partner when you're angry, but the other party may not know, or they may not really even have thought about that. they were angry and they said something, you don't take it serious. You just let it go, okay? And things will settle down automatically later on. When their anger will die down, they will come back to you. They will say something, maybe apologize or something, and then things will be back to normal. So that's perfectly normal. Um, Respect again is priceless. You know, you cannot put a price around it. Um, the the thing is that you don't expect it from the cheap people. Cheap people will not give you respect. They are cheap themselves, so you just just be aside from those people. You don't have to be around cheap people, and you would expect that they will give you respect. They will not give you respect. So please do not expect the respect from the cheap people. And you always try to be happy. I think that is the key. You should always be happy. If you're sad or angry or anxious, it's not going to help anybody. So just cool down, relax, and uh, Hakuna Matata. Just try to be happy. It means no worries, right? So that's really key. Writing the agreement is crucial. Again, whatever you have discussed, whatever you have decided, roles and responsibilities, who's going to do what, who's going to bring what skills to the table, things like that. You put it in writing. Okay, that's really important. Everything should be in black and white on piece of paper, signed by both parties, witnessed by both parties' witnesses. That's really important. Um, if there's a legal bond or agreement, it has to be notarized. Get it notarized from a certified notary public, things like that. Make it official. And all the partners should have original copies of the agreement. So you have to make, for example, there are two partners, there should be two originals. Both of you will sign on both side witnesses will sign on both. You keep one original, the other party keeps the other original. All right? So that's how you do it. Having an ongoing operating agreement in place will help define your mission. So there should be an operating agreement that how are we going to run this operation, right? That is important. So you have to put that in writing that this is how we're going to run this operation, and we agree upon that this is how we're going to run. And that will keep your mission, your vision intact, and you can achieve that. All right. And as per Alex Mantosian, again, be attentive and enthusiastic. That's really important. You have to be enthusiastic about what you're doing, and you have to pay attention to every single detail. Whatever is happening around you, whatever is happening in the business or in the partnership, or whatever product and services you're offering, you have to pay attention. You have to be enthusiastic um, about what you're doing. That's really important. Talk instead of email or message. Today there's WhatsApp, there's Facebook Messenger. Those are, or Gmail or Outlook or Mail or whatever it is, Yahoo Mail or Hotmail or blah blah blah. Those are the ways of communication for certain people. Social messaging is again, it's not for business. You should not be talking business on WhatsApp, for example. WhatsApp is something for your personal use. That's your social thing, but you should not be talking business the on WhatsApp. It's important that you should be writing either email for the business or some formal communication. But if there is a certain thing between the partners, if you have to bring a news or do something, you have to really pick up the phone and talk to the partner rather than texting them or messaging them or emailing them. It's really important to get them on the phone and talk, or meet in person. If you can meet in person, if you're at the same place, go and talk to them, rather than picking up the phone or sending them the text message. Using email to communicate about important issues is a surefire road to disaster. If there is something important, if there is an issue, it's going to impact the business, it's going to impact the partnership, or it's going to impact what you're doing. Writing email is not going to help. It's a bad way of communication. So you have to really get up and go and meet the other person, or pick up the phone and talk. Tone and intentions are too easily misinterpreted. Whatever you're writing and whatever you intended to say, you may not be able to find the right word or words what you intended to say, and in what tone you're writing. So that can screw up things even worse. That can make issues worse than they were if you are not good at explaining and communicating, the issue at hand. So that's important. Rather, go pick up the phone and talk, or go meet the person in person. Responsibility. It's really important to take full responsibility for your actions. So whatever you did, you have to be, or you're doing, you have to take full responsibility. You have to be accountable for what you're doing. Okay. You have to know your priorities, as per Alex Mantossian. Those are the priorities that you define, that you're going to do this. You have to know them. And they are very crucial for any partnership, for any business. Differentiate important versus urgent, as per Alex Mantossian. Again, urgent is something that you have to take care of right away. But important are really important. You have to take care of the important things before the urgent things. The urgent thing could be, I have to buy a gift for my wife. It's her birthday. It's urgent. I have to buy that. But again, the important is, if the product has to get out the door, and there are certain final things that you have to take care of, go ahead and take care of that. That is really important for your business or your partnership, rather than acting upon on urgent things. Act upon on important, what is important. You shouldn't be shy about admitting your mistakes or blunders that you have done. If you make a mistake, admit it quickly. Say, I'm sorry, I did this. I really am sorry. So that's not the end of the world. If you admit your mistake, the world is perfectly normal. The sooner you attend to an error, the more quickly you will both be able to move on. As soon as you attend to a mistake, a problem, or an issue, and address that, you will continue going in the right direction. Okay, and your partner is going to appreciate not having to call you out. You will get together. You will bring that. If you made a mistake, you admit, you talk to the partner, rather than partner coming back to you and saying, hey, Mr. A, you made this mistake. We didn't talk about it. what happened here? Why did you do that? Don't let that happen. If you make a mistake, you know that you screwed up, you go and talk to the other party and say, I'm sorry, look, I made this mistake. It's a human error, and I have this game plan to address that and to fix it. Alex Mantrosian has three questions to ask the customer. So if something goes wrong, you did something wrong, or your product did something wrong, you know, and the customer is mad, super mad about what has happened, you know. So so you ask three questions basically. And this is again, I'm giving credit to Alex Mantrosian. I'm bringing it again for the benefit of the audience here today. So the very first question you ask is, what happened? Okay. So what happened will give the other party a chance to explain what went wrong. All right. That's important, to listen to them. Okay. Don't put the words in their mouth. Let them speak out. Let them say what happened. Then you ask, what should have happened? Now I know that yes, this has happened. It's bad, but again, according to you, what should have happened? So the customer is going to give you um, or your partner is going to give you their spell, and they're going to say, okay, this should have happened. All right. Now you go back and say, okay, how can we fix it? All right. So the other party, the partnership or the customer is going to say that, okay, this is how we can fix it. You act upon that, you agree, and then fix it. So that's really important. You don't lose your calmness. You have to stay calm, you know, and don't be. You have to stay content, and don't let your discontent irritate you. You know, that would be a really bad thing. You have to stay calm. You will if you're not calm, you will feel worse, not better. Okay, so you have to be content, you have to be calm, you have to stay put. If you avoid airing your grievances, you will begin to blow things out of the proportion, you know. So if you start making complaints and you know, raising those non-issue items and things like that, that will, you know, make things worse than better. So that's really important for you to understand. And whatever you have to say, if there is something in your chest, you have to really get it out. Just spit it out, talk it out. You know, if there is something that is holding up in your chest, you just go ahead and speak to the partner and just get it out. Okay, Mr. B, I heard this thing. What do you think about it? And let them come back to you. But you don't lose your calmness. You stay put. Analytics are really important. That you have to really analyze. You have to see what are the small problems and what are the bigger problems, and you have to differentiate between them. You have to analyze. Okay, these are small problems that can be handled easily, or they can be deferred. These are the big problems. How are we going to address those? Things like that. You have to be analytical. Not everything is a big problem. You know, in fact, most things aren't. You know, it could be, you may be thinking it's a big problem, but when you communicate, as per my previous slides, you will notice that probably it's the other party might think that it's not a big problem. To you, it might be a big problem. So it may not be as big or as worst as you think. It helps to be reminded of that. You know, it's really important that the big problems can be smaller problems. So you have to remind yourself, keep reminding yourself that the problem, if you classify, that's your own perception. It not necessarily everyone would agree to the severity of that problem. When one is overreacting, partner should ask, is this a big problem or a small problem? You know, if somebody is saying, is just, jumping out of the chair or jumping on the table and complaining about a problem, you should ask, is this a big problem or a small problem? And let them come back to you. You know, let them say that, okay, it's a big problem. And then you both sit together and analyze, be critical about what you're analyzing. You discuss the problem, you discuss the mitigation strategy, and then you address that. All right. Teamwork. This is the last item on our agenda. Teamwork is really important. One is alone, and two are team. So if you alone, you want to do something, you may not be able to achieve what you will be able to achieve with the help of somebody else. So if you have to run a business, you have to have other people around you to help you run that business. That's important. And teamwork is it's a dynamic process. It's not a static process. It's a dynamic. It's keep changing. It's a dynamic process involving two or more professionals with complementary background and skills. They complement each other. So we have gone through that in the earlier slides. That the skills have to complement each other. Sharing common goals. Again, you have to share the same goals. You have to get from point A to point B. You have to agree with the partnership or between the partnership. And you have to exercise concentrated physical and mental effort in assessing, planning, or evaluating the tasks. So whatever the tasks are at hand, you have to execute those tasks. You have to be willing to execute those tasks. You have to put all the physical efforts and mental efforts in order to address the tasks and executing them. You have to support one another. Again, we talked about it. You have to respect, you have to admire the other party, and you have to support. If it comes to support, if somebody made a mistake and they admit it, you have to support them. It's not the end of the world. You got to support them. They're your partners. You have to take care of them. If you find yourself secretly wishing your partner ill will, that's a bad thing. It's something has gone wrong terribly somewhere. You don't feel ill will about the partner. You should not have any bad feeling about your partner. You should have all the faith and believe in your partner. That's really crucial for the partnership, for a successful partnership, rather, I would say. So that's really critical. That's really important for you to note. To review, again, this is what we talked about. So the very first thing is you have to perform the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, analysis. You have to interview partners to see how they did and what they did at the previous employment or previous partnership. You have to discuss the strategic goals. So what are long-term goals that you both agree upon, that, okay, we're going to, from point A to point B, we have to get there, things like that. Define roles. So we'll do what? That's important at the beginning of the partnership. Communication is the key. So keep communicating with each other. Don't let it stop. Okay, communication makes things better. Avoid surprises. So no surprises at all. You have to make sure that everything is communicated. Nothing should come as a surprise at the 11th hour. Respect for each other, mutual respect. It's not one-way street. It's a two-way street. Give and take. You give respect, you will have respect. That's really important. You write agreement or agreements if there are more than one partners. Keep everything in black and white on paper. Sign it, witness it, notarize it. Make it legal. Talk instead of email or messages. Okay, talk to people. Okay, pick up the phone. Talk to them rather than texting or WhatsApping or Facebook Messenger. Take responsibility for the actions that you're doing and you're accountable for. Admit mistakes that you have made. Okay, don't be shy. Don't hesitate to admit your mistakes. You have to stay calm. You don't lose your coolness. Stay cool. Okay, that's really important. You have to chill. That's really important. Be analytic. You have to analyze the situation. You have to analyze the problem. You have to analyze the business. So you have to bring your analytical expertise and capabilities. You have to put your analytics hat and then analyze the business or the task or the goal at hand. And the final, last but not the least, is the teamwork. One is alone, two are team, as I said. You have to work together in tandem. You have to work beside each other. How these gears work together in order to give momentum to the other. That's really important. So I personally thank you for your time. I know it was a long presentation. There is so much to take away from this presentation. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation. The slide decks will be made available at a later stage. Please let us know. Don't forget to visit ejazqureshi.com for more information and this presentation. I will post the PDF of this slide deck at ejazqureshi.com for this topic post. And don't forget to visit our Facebook page. That is Empower Normal People. That's our goal, to empower the normal people who are not fortunate enough, who do not have money to really go out and hire expensive mentors in order to give them the information or the skills or the know-how that they are looking for to go higher in whatever, in their career or in their businesses or whatever, what have you. So that's our goal, to empower normal people. I'm not talking about special people. I'm just talking about, or fortunate people. I'm just talking about normal people. So that's our goal. That's our motto. That's our page. Look at the Facebook, and you will find tons of information there. Once again, this is Ejaz Qureshi from Toronto, Canada, signing off. Thank you so much.